Well, again, there's so many ways to do this this type of work these days. Well, maybe there is a master apprentice program. I'll tell like a really quick story here, and then I'll tell you why it's important. My son was going to work at another big company, and he wanted to move up. I'll just say it that way. And he saw an opportunity to work with one of the guys who was very experienced, but everyone considered him the grumpy old man. And I think the guy kind of did it to keep people from bugging him. And my son told me, he said, "But Dad, that guy knows everything. He knows everything." And I said, "Well, my opinion then, if you want to move up and you need to know what he knows, you got to find a way to break through that crack or crack that shell." Well, if you knew my son, Chad, he is a kind of a likable young guy, and he ended up making friends with that guy. And that guy did teach him pretty much everything he knew. And my son now has that job that he wanted as kind of his dream job. And it pays significantly better than what he was making. And he learned most of it from that guy. So here's my story and why I say that. Sometimes those people who've earned it and learned it the hard way, they're not that easy to approach sometimes. And sometimes you're a little nervous about it. Um, get through that, please. And I always tell people use a humble approach. Go to people that you think are really knowledgeable like that and go to them and say, "Look, I just want to be good at this. And I think you're the person who can get me there. I don't care if it's, and that's ask. I've asked people who have super um, credentials to help me in my career, and sometimes you get shut down. I won't say you won't, but most of the time, if you approach folks with the right attitude, they'll help you, man. I mean, I could tell you all kinds of names like Ron Moore and Jack Nicholas in our business who I would talk to and and just reach out to them. Like I said, with the right attitude. And these guys just dump knowledge in your head like crazy. So that's an issue. I think that's part of this master apprentice thing is, well, number one, who are they? Number two, how do I get that person or those persons to dump that information into a place where we can all get to it? And that was that electronic black book I was talking about earlier. I think that's part of that also. But more importantly, if you got those kind of folks who are willing, and we do have them, you know, I've been asked, and I know other guys have been asked to be adjunct professors at different places to help people from the engineering and from the leadership perspective, both about what do we do, and most of it's around this implementation piece. You know what? Again, I have lots of knowledge, very smart people, but do I know how to get it done? You know, and that's that master apprenticeship piece. So that's the scenario that I see. Getting that tough nut to crack, and then getting that person to help the right people. And maybe it's people like my son Chad who then become the next mentor, right? Just because you learned it doesn't mean it should stay in your brain either. You should be helping other people. That's my opinion. And I watched way too much knowledge walk out the door at General Motors during our tough years and our bankruptcy. Uh, Geniuses walking out the door left and right. And it's heartbreaking on one side, and it's just really impacts the business on the other side. A person is not just another person. I remember one guy in HR saying, "Well, people are people are people." I'm like, no, they're not. Some people have ownership and some people don't. And those people who have ownership and knowledge, you want to get as much of that as you can before they leave. I mean, that's super important. All right, I'm done blowing here.